It begins with a breath, a quiet moment, a stillness that wraps around you like a blanket, warm and weightless. The stars have already taken their places in the night sky. They blink softly, as if whispering secrets to one another. And somewhere, beneath that velvety sky, you are lying still, your body heavy, your mind slowly letting go. Imagine you are resting in a small wooden cottage deep in the countryside. The window is open just a little, and a cool breeze flows in, carrying the scent of lavender, pine, and something distant, something magical. Crickets hum quietly in the background. A soft fire crackles in the corner, giving off just enough warmth to make you feel safe. You are not in a rush. Tonight, there is no need to be anywhere, do anything, or think about what was or what will be. Tonight, you are simply here, present, at peace. As you breathe in and out, the gentle rhythm of your chest becomes the rhythm of the world around you, and slowly, softly, a story begins to unfold. In a distant land, not marked on any map, lies a hidden valley, known only by those who truly seek rest. Its name is Whispering Valley, a place spoken of in stories, a place said to be found only by those whose hearts are tired, but whose spirits still glow with wonder. And so begins the tale of a traveler, not a hero, not a warrior, nor a seeker of fame, just a soul, a quiet soul, much like yours, looking not for riches, but for peace. One morning, though the sky was grey and the air still, this traveler packed only what was necessary: a small satchel, a woolen cloak, and a worn-out map passed down by a grandmother long ago. The map did not show mountains or rivers, it showed feelings. It spoke of places like the forest of forgotten worries and the river of reflection, and at the very end, scribbled faintly in golden ink, was the name Whispering Valley, with no certainty, but complete calm. The traveler stepped out of their small cabin, closed the door gently behind them, and took the first step of the journey. Birdsong accompanied them at first, the kind that feels ancient, like the earth is humming a lullaby. Every step on the mossy path made a soft sound, like the earth exhaling. The world was not rushing. The trees leaned inward, not to block the path, but as if to whisper encouragement. "Keep going," they seemed to say. "You're on the right path." And so the traveler did. They passed through fields where the flowers swayed, not with the wind, for there was none, but with their own rhythm, as if dancing to a song that only flowers know. The traveler did not worry about direction. They walked slowly, allowing the earth to guide them. Each breath, each blink, each beat of their heart was aligned with the natural rhythm of all things. Time began to melt. Minutes did not matter. The journey itself was becoming the destination. At nightfall, the traveler found shelter under an ancient oak. Its branches were wide and wise, and beneath it the ground was soft with fallen leaves. They lay down, as you are now, letting the weight of the world fall away. Above them, the stars blinked again, the same stars that now hover above your resting form, silent, watchful, kind. Before sleep took them, the traveler whispered, "I do not know where the path leads, but I know I'm meant to walk it." And with that, their eyes closed. Not from tiredness, but from surrender. Surrender to the stillness, to trust, to quiet, just as you are surrendering now. Not in weakness, but in strength. Because rest, true rest, takes courage. And so the traveler slept, and you too can rest. Because this is only the beginning. There is no need to stay alert. The path will still be here. The story will unfold, slowly, like a river flowing at dusk. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts drift like clouds. Let your body sink just a little deeper into the bed. You are safe. You are calm. And tomorrow, or maybe the next chapter, you will continue the journey. But for now, just sleep. The night passed quietly. No wild winds, no distant howls, just the deep, rhythmic hush of nature breathing around the traveler. As dawn approached, light touched the forest with the gentleness of a mother waking her child. Soft pinks and golds slid between the branches, casting long shadows and warm halos on the moss-covered earth. The traveler stirred slowly, like a leaf on still water. No alarm, no urgency, only the kind of wakefulness that comes after a night of deep, true rest. They sat up, stretched their arms, and closed their eyes again for a moment, to listen. There was a new sound in the air. It wasn't the birds, not the wind, not the rustling of trees. It was a hum, low, steady, and far away, like a note played on a distant cello. It came from the direction the map had hinted toward. The place marked not with lines or roads, but a symbol, a spiral of golden ink. The traveler reached for the map. It had changed. The paper, once brittle and faint, now felt smoother, warmer, and the golden spiral had grown just a little brighter, as if the story itself knew, you are ready. They stood up, brushed the leaves off their cloak, and looked into the woods ahead. This path was different. Not darker, just deeper, older, as though it hadn't been walked in many years. Not because it was dangerous, but because most people had simply forgotten how to see it. But the traveler could. And so they stepped forward. One slow step, then another. The hum grew a little louder. It wasn't music, not exactly. It was more like memory, the sound you hear in dreams, the feeling of something long lost but suddenly remembered. As they walked, the trees whispered again, not with words, but with presence. They bowed gently in the breeze, leaves fluttering like tiny notes on an invisible piano, and the light shifted once more. Not the harsh light of midday, but the kind of light you see in old paintings. Soft, golden, timeless. The traveler smiled. Their body was calm, their thoughts quiet. With every step, they felt lighter, not in body, but in spirit, as if the worries they once carried were falling behind, one by one, like old leaves. They came upon a clearing. In the center there stood a single stone bench. It was ancient, carved with symbols worn down by time, spirals, stars, and tiny, sleeping faces. The traveler sat, and the hum they had followed. It was here, right beneath them. They closed their eyes. Suddenly, they were not in the forest anymore. They were floating, not flying, not drifting, just gently floating. Through memory, through moments, they saw a child, themselves, sitting in a field, watching clouds form shapes. They saw a friend they'd forgotten, smiling on a rainy day. They saw laughter, tears, kindness. They saw every moment where love had whispered, "Keep going, you're not alone." And when they opened their eyes, a single tear rolled down their cheek, not from sadness, but from remembering who they were and why they had come. The call to journey had never been a voice from outside. It was always inside them, a quiet invitation that had waited patiently for years. It had never shouted, never demanded. It had simply whispered, "When you're ready, I'll be here." And now they were ready. The wind picked up, just slightly. Not cold, not harsh. It carried the scent of something sweet, like honey and old books. The map in their satchel fluttered once. They took it out, and there, glowing faintly, was a new path marked on it, a narrow trail winding toward the hills. Its name had appeared in tiny, graceful letters, the Valley of Quiet Things. They knew then this was the next step, but not right away. For now they stayed seated on the stone bench, eyes closed, smiling softly, letting the hum wash over them, letting their heart be still, letting you, the listener, drift deeper into your own quiet valley. So breathe, slowly, feel the stillness grow inside your chest. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw unclench, let your mind loosen its grip. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to think anything. This story is holding you, like a river carries a leaf, safe, slow, certain. Tomorrow the traveler will walk again, through valleys and skies, through questions and wonder. But tonight they rest, and so can you. Let the hum carry you. Let the night wrap around you like soft cotton. Let your thoughts become whispers, and your breath become the only sound you follow. This is only chapter 2, but already you are halfway home. Sleep well, traveler. Sleep deeply. The journey continues, but not until morning. The traveler woke not with a jolt, but with the feeling of being gently lifted out of a dream. Sunlight spilled like melted gold across the forest floor. Birdsong threaded the morning like soft embroidery, and somewhere, far off, the familiar hum still echoed, quieter now, like a memory whispered from a distance. Today was the day they would enter the valley. They stood with care, stretched, closed their eyes and listened again. Nothing rushed them. The path ahead was dappled in light, a trail of golden steps leading deeper into the heart of the unknown. The Valley of Quiet Things was not on most maps. In fact, many believed it didn't exist at all. But the traveler knew better. It wasn't hidden. It was simply unseen by busy eyes, the kind of eyes that forget to look up at the stars or pause to feel the warmth of a teacup between their hands. The traveler's steps were slow and deliberate. Every footfall pressed gently into soft moss. Birds fluttered nearby, but did not startle. They seemed to know this visitor was not here to take, but to remember. As the trail curved, the forest opened, not suddenly, but as though parting, its leaves in welcome, and there it was, the valley. It was not grand, not majestic, not dramatic. It was quiet and beautiful in the way forgotten lullabies are beautiful, simple, familiar, and filled with feeling. Small streams wound between tufts of grass like silver threads. Gentle hills cradled wildflowers in shades of cream and lavender. And there were stones, round, smooth, warm in the sun, each one placed as though the earth had chosen it on purpose. The traveler sat on the first stone they found. They didn't speak, didn't move much, just breathed, and the valley breathed with them. Time slowed, thoughts softened, and for a moment, nothing was needed. Nothing was missing. Everything simply was. Around them, the valley held its quiet. Treasures, a snail tracing an elegant path across a leaf, a feather white and soft, balanced perfectly on a blade of grass, a tree whose bark curled like pages of a forgotten book, a single cloud shaped like a curled-up cat. All small things, all unnoticed by the loud world, but here they were sacred. And then from across the meadow came a gentle chime, not a bell, but something softer, deeper. It rang once, then again. The traveler stood, not afraid, not surprised, and followed. At the edge of the valley stood a house. It was small, made of stone and ivy, a crooked chimney, windows like kind eyes, a wooden door that seemed to breathe with the wind. The chime had come from there. The traveler approached slowly, their footsteps muffled by the moss. They knocked once. The door creaked open. No one stood behind it. Just a room filled with light and stillness. And in the center, a table. On it, a single book. The traveler stepped inside. The air was warm and smelled faintly of lavender and something older, perhaps parchment, perhaps dreams. They approached the table, ran their fingers over the cover of the book. It was soft leather, aged and worn. No title. They opened it. Inside, blank pages, all except one. On that page, in soft gold ink, was written, "You do not have to be loud to be important. You do not have to be fast to move forward. You do not have to be known to be loved. You only need to listen, to slow down, to remember. This is the valley of quiet things, and you are one of them." The traveler closed the book, holding back tears they didn't fully understand. Not sadness, not even joy, just the feeling of coming home, to themselves. They stayed in the little house until evening, didn't speak, didn't need to. The silence wasn't empty, it was full of memory, of meaning, of messages that only quiet hearts could hear. And as night fell, the stars returned, not blinking above, but waiting patiently until someone looked up. The traveler stepped back outside. The valley glowed under starlight, soft and silvery. The book was still in their hands. But now it had changed. More pages had filled in, not with words, but with sketches. Drawings of the feather, the snail, the tree, the cloud cat. Moments they had witnessed, moments that had changed them. Small things, quiet things, but powerful, and as they lay down beneath the tree that curled like an old book, the traveler whispered, "Not to be heard, but to feel. I remember now who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm going." And the stars in their quiet way whispered back, "Good, then rest. Tomorrow brings more remembering. So now, dear listener, you too may rest. You are in the valley of quiet things." And like the traveler, you do not need to chase, to fight, to prove. You are already enough, already whole, already held. Let your thoughts float, let your breath slow. Feel the softness of night wrap around you like a warm, gentle blanket. You are safe, you are home, and the world can wait until morning. The dawn in the valley of quiet things didn't arrive all at once. It whispered. First, a slight lifting of the darkness, then a cool mist curling like a sigh around the sleeping trees, and then birdsong. Not loud, not demanding, just one note, as if the valley itself had taken a deep breath. The traveler awoke without effort, as if their soul had risen before their body. They opened their eyes slowly, and there it was, the path again, winding forward through the morning fog. Today they would cross the bridge. They had heard whispers about it in dreams, a place where the past quietly waited, not to be relived, but to be released. The bridge of forgotten names. It didn't appear on maps, because names that are forgotten often fall between the lines. But the traveler felt its pull, like a memory you don't remember until the wind carries a scent from childhood, like a song you didn't know you knew until you hummed. But the path narrowed as they walked. Trees grew closer. Their branches arched overhead like cathedral ceilings, filtering the light into soft rays. With every step, the air became cooler, but not unfriendly. There was a reverence here, as if the very ground remembered footsteps from long ago, and welcomed new ones gently. Then the trees parted, and there it was, the bridge. It stretched over a stream so still it looked like glass. It wasn't wide, it wasn't tall, but it shimmered, not with jewels or gold, but with memory. Names, hundreds of them, glowed faintly along the handrails, etched in soft, pulsing light. Some names were long, others short. Some were in languages no longer spoken, some were never spoken at all. Yet each name felt important, not famous, just remembered. The traveler stepped onto the bridge, and something strange happened. Not frightening, just unexpected. With each step, a memory returned. Not all were joyful, some were tender, some stung a little, but all were peaceful now. Like old photographs softened by time, they remembered the first time they were called brave, the look in their mother's eyes when they finally forgave themselves, a song sung on a rainy evening under a blanket with someone they loved, a secret kindness they once offered a stranger, long forgotten by the world. And then they remembered the name they had lost, their own, not the one others gave them, not the one written in records, but the name whispered to them by the wind as a child, the name that only quiet could reveal. As they reached the center of the bridge, the traveler paused. There was a small stone pedestal, and on it a question carved deep. What will you leave behind so you can carry only what matters? The traveler thought for a long time. They reached into their satchel and pulled out a small object. It wasn't grand, just a note, creased and yellowed. It had once held an apology they never sent, words written in anger, then folded away. They placed it gently on the pedestal and watched as it vanished, not in fire, not in wind, but in soft light, gone, but understood, released. The bridge gave a gentle hum, not mechanical, not magical, just alive. And for the first time, the traveler felt lighter, like their spirit had made space. When they reached the far side of the bridge, a figure stood waiting, not a person, not exactly. It had the shape of a human, but its edges blurred with light, as though made of memory itself. The figure didn't speak. It simply nodded as if to say, "Well done. You remembered what needed remembering, and forgot what needed forgetting." The traveler bowed gently, not out of duty, but gratitude. Then the figure raised its hand and pointed toward a new path, one the traveler hadn't seen before. It led upward, not steep, but steady, a hill blanketed in silver grass. And at its peak, a single tree, tall, twisted by time, covered in blossoms that shimmered like stars. The traveler climbed. Each step was easier than the last, and when they reached the summit, they sat beneath the tree and exhaled a breath they didn't know they'd been holding for years. Below them, the valley stretched wide. The bridge glowed behind them, now a part of the landscape, like a thread in a great tapestry. The tree whispered in the breeze, not words, but feelings. And the pool. Traveler smiled, because now they could rest. Not sleep, not yet, but rest in the knowing that nothing was lost, only transformed. As the sun set, the traveler whispered once more, "Thank you for the forgetting and the remembering, and the valley, the bridge, and the..." Tree replied in silence, but the kind of silence that sings. Dear listener, as your breathing softens, as your thoughts drift like feathers on a breeze, ask yourself, what name have I forgotten? What memory is ready to come home? And what burden can I gently lay down tonight? Let the bridge carry it for you. Let the quiet cradle you, and let your heart find its name again. The path no longer led forward, it now curved upward. Beyond the whispering trees, beyond the valley of still waters and glowing bridges, there stood a mountain, not one that pierced the sky with sharp edges. No, this mountain was old, gentle in its curves, wrapped in blankets of fog and silence. It didn't demand to be climbed. It invited, and the traveler, having remembered and released, felt ready. With each step toward its base, the world grew quieter. Not empty, just still. The wind hushed its voice. The birds paused their songs. Even the leaves, which earlier rustled like soft lullabies, now floated silently to the earth. The traveler touched the mountain's surface, cool stone worn smooth by time, and then they heard it. A hum, low, deep, steady, like the mountain was breathing. They began to climb. There was no rush. No trail markers, no need to reach the top by nightfall, because here the journey was the destination, and with every step the mountain listened, not with ears, but with presence. The traveler thought they were alone, until they weren't. About halfway up, nestled in a small hollow of stone, sat an elder. Not young, not old, not quite human, and yet completely familiar. Their skin shimmered like sand warmed by moonlight. Their eyes were closed, yet they seemed to see everything. The traveler hesitated, but the elder smiled. "Come," they whispered, "the mountain listens better when we speak softly." The traveler sat beside them. They didn't speak at first. Instead, they listened to the breeze curling around the stones, to the distant trickle of melting ice, to their own heartbeat. And the elder nodded, pleased. "You've learned already," they said. "Words can fill a space, but silence reveals it." After some time, the elder asked, "What do you carry now?" The traveler opened their hands. Nothing. The burden left on the bridge had not returned, but the elder pressed further. "What about inside?" The traveler closed their eyes and then softly spoke. "I carry questions." The elder chuckled gently. "That's good," they said. "Questions are soft things when held with care." Then they leaned close and whispered, "Ask." So the traveler asked, "Why do we forget what matters? Why does silence feel heavier than sound? How do I know when I've truly arrived?" The elder did not answer, not with words. Instead, they reached into a pouch and pulled out 3 stones, simple, round, and smooth, each one a different color, one the blue of distant oceans, one the gray of morning clouds, and one the soft gold of fading autumn light. The elder placed the stones in the traveler's hands. "These are your answers," they said. "But I don't understand," the traveler replied. "Good," the elder smiled. "Then they will grow." The sky began to dim, soft purples and blues stretching across the heavens. The elder rose slowly, bones creaking like old trees. "It is time for you to continue." "To the top?" the traveler asked. The elder shook their head. "Not yet. There's something you must hear." They pointed to a small path that veered slightly west. "Follow it. The mountain will speak." So the traveler did. And as they walked, they noticed that the path became narrower but softer, cushioned with moss and scattered petals. And then the whispering began, not from the wind, not from birds, from the mountain itself. Low, deep, patient. It told stories of children who laughed beside hidden springs, of lovers who carved their names in bark only to return decades later and find them still there, of travelers who came seeking answers but left carrying better questions. The traveler sat beside a boulder and listened, and the mountain said, "You do not have to be certain to be steady. You do not have to be full to be whole. You do not have to know the path to walk it well." These words, spoken without voice, settled into the traveler's bones. They didn't need to remember them, because the mountain remembered for them. When night fell, stars bloomed above like lanterns lit by unseen hands. The traveler lay on a patch of moss, gazing upward, heart beating in rhythm with the stone beneath, and the mountain whispered one last time before sleep. You are not alone, even in silence, especially in silence. Dear listener, tonight, as you drift into rest, may you feel the presence of your own mountain, steady, ancient, listening. You don't have to speak. You don't have to solve. You only have to be. Let the questions rest in your chest like warm stones. Let the silence wrap around you like a familiar song. And know, the mountain hears you, always. The sun had not risen, yet the sky began to glow. Not with brightness, but with gentleness. A soft lavender light spread across the land, as if the stars had left behind their warmth to kiss the earth one last time. The traveler, awakened by silence deeper than sleep, stood up slowly. The mountain's whisper had faded, but in its place something new arrived, a scent, fresh and sweet, like petals opening for the first time, and with it came a path, one they hadn't seen before. It wasn't made of stone or earth, but soft ground covered in pale green moss and tiny blossoms that glowed faintly in the dawn. The traveler followed it. Each step felt like walking on memory. Not sharp or heavy, but light, like the soft touch of a dream long remembered. Soon trees parted like curtains, and the traveler saw it. A garden, but not just any garden. It breathed. The leaves moved not with the wind, but as if they sighed in rhythm. The flowers didn't just bloom, they shimmered, and at the garden's heart sat a pool of water so still it mirrored not just the sky, but time itself. Time in this place was not straight like an arrow. It curled like ivy, folded like soft linen, paused like breath between words. The traveler stepped into the garden and felt it instantly. Time was slowing, not stopping, not vanishing, just softening, as if the world was finally not in a hurry. A figure appeared by the pool. She wore robes the color of dusk and dawn together. Her hands held a watering bowl made of crystal. Her smile was warm, but tired, like someone who had waited a long time to be seen. "Welcome," she said, her voice like petals falling. "This is where time rests, where moments come not to pass, but to linger." The traveler knelt by the water. Its surface held images. A child chasing fireflies with joy. A pair of hands letting go of another, but with peace. A quiet room where laughter once echoed. They were not memories. They were feelings, preserved in the water like songs trapped in bottles. The woman knelt beside them and whispered, "People try to outrun time, but here we sit with it." The traveler breathed in. The garden smelled like forgiveness. Not loud, not grand, just true. They asked, "Why is this garden hidden?" The woman smiled. "Because most people run past it. They chase what's next. So fast, they forget what's now." She dipped her hand in the pool and pulled out a single drop. It hovered in the air like a crystal. "This," she said, "is a second, just one." She let it fall onto the traveler's palm. "Hold it," she said, "and listen." The drop didn't move. It didn't melt, but it spoke. In silence. In that 1 second, the traveler felt the warmth of morning sun on bare skin, the sound of a loved one's voice saying, "I'm proud of you," the weightless feeling of laughing without reason, the comfort of being held, all in 1 second. The traveler's eyes filled with quiet tears. "How can so much live in so little?" they asked. The woman nodded. "Because time, when noticed, becomes wide." She stood and pointed to a tree in the center of the garden. It was unlike any tree the traveler had seen. Its bark was silver. Its leaves were clocks, each ticking a different rhythm, some fast, some slow, some completely still. "This tree grows only when someone pauses," she said. The traveler stepped closer. As they stood still, one branch bloomed, a new leaf, not ticking, just glowing. "You've given time to this moment," she whispered, "and in return, it gives itself to you." The traveler felt it in their chest, a slowing, a softening, like they had finally stepped out of the rushing river onto quiet shores. Birds began to sing, not like alarms, but lullabies. The garden shifted color gently, like a watercolor painting, breathing, and then the woman spoke once more. "Carry this with you, not the whole garden, just the memory that it exists. And when the world becomes too loud, too fast, too much, return here, not with your body, but with your presence." The traveler closed their eyes, and when they opened them again, the garden was gone. Or perhaps it had simply tucked itself back into the folds of the world. But the feeling remained that not every second had to be spent. Some could be kept. Dear listener, you do not have to rush. Tonight, let this garden grow in you. Let your thoughts slow like falling leaves. Let your breath stretch gently like morning light across the horizon. And remember, a single quiet second can hold more peace than an entire day of noise. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be. And time is not your enemy. It's your companion, softly walking beside you as you drift into rest. The stars had begun to fade, their shimmer gently slipping beneath the veil of approaching dawn. But the traveler was not awake. They were floating, not in the sky, not in the sea, but on something softer, something quieter. A river, not made of water, but of dreams. The river made no sound, no crashing, no rushing, just a smooth, endless glide, as if it had no destination, only a purpose, to carry what the heart held too deeply for daylight. The traveler lay on a leaf as wide as a boat, as soft as a sigh. It cradled them, and the river whispered, "Tonight we sail through your dreams, not to fix them, not to chase them, but to meet them." The traveler looked over the edge. The river's surface was dark, but filled with light beneath, like moonlight trapped inside ink. Beneath the flow, images danced, smiles, shadows, doorways that never opened, faces that felt familiar but had no names. And then one shimmered brighter than the rest. A child, small and barefoot, chasing fireflies in the dusk. It was the traveler, long ago. Laughter bubbled through the air, pure, round and without a care. That memory had not been lost. It had simply taken shelter here, in this river that asked for nothing, only to hold. Next came a boat, shaped like a candle flame. Inside sat a person, not someone the traveler knew in waking life, but here, in this soft world, they knew. This was someone they had loved, someone who had said goodbye too soon. The boat passed gently. The traveler didn't wave. They didn't need to. Love didn't end. It simply traveled onward. The river began to hum, a low, velvety tune, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. And the sky above changed, no longer night, but not yet morning. A timeless space, the space where dreams rested. A voice came from the current, not loud, not even human, just presence. Do not fear the dreams you don't understand. Some are messengers, some are mirrors, and some are just echoes of the day that needed somewhere to go. The traveler let go of thought, let go of memory, let go of meaning, and floated. They passed through a tunnel of willows, their branches dripping silver threads into the river. Each thread they touched gave a sensation. A forgotten melody hummed in childhood, the soft weight of a pet's head resting on their knee, the feel of rain against warm skin, the silence after being told, "You're enough." Every part of them relaxed, shoulders, neck, jaw, the tight places within. The river asked for no effort, only surrender. A flock of dream birds flew overhead. They carried no feathers, only light. Their wings left trails like watercolor across the sky. Each trail was a dream left behind by another sleeper, somewhere else in the world. A child in Kenya, dreaming of flying. An elder in Japan dreaming of the sea. A mother in Brazil dreaming of her first love's laughter. All were connected by this river. Dreams, the voice said, are not just yours. They are bridges, and this river holds them all. The traveler now saw the truth. They were not alone, not ever. They had always sailed among others, across fears, across hopes, across centuries of sleeping hearts. They passed an island where dreams came to rest. It was made of pillows and clouds and soft chords of music. A woman slept there, smiling, a child curled beside her, and a poem floated above them. In sleep we are whole. In dreams we return to the places we lost and the selves we forgot. The traveler felt warmth in their chest, not heat, but warmth, gentle, golden, slow, the kind that makes you exhale without knowing why. The river widened, stars reflected, again, not above but below, and the leaf boat slowed to a still drift. The voice returned, softer now. You may wake soon, but not quickly, not with alarm. When you return, take the softness with you. The traveler closed their eyes on the Fee River, and the river whispered one last thing. The world rushes when it wakes, but you know now how to float, even in daylight. As the boat vanished, as the water faded, as the sky opened into morning, the traveler was no longer sailing. They were resting deeply, still floating, but in sleep now, and in that sleep they held the river with them. Dear listener, you too are on this river now. Let your body go heavy. Let your breath become soft. Let your thoughts be leaves on the water, passing, not clinging. And if any dream comes, welcome it gently. You are safe. You are not alone. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Now sleep, softly, deeply, freely. Somewhere beyond the dream river, beyond the silver trees and moonlit fields, stood a place no map could find, a library, but not made of books. No, this library held something rarer, forgotten joys. The traveler found themselves standing at its threshold. The door was made of warm wood, polished by time, glowing gently from within. No handle. It opened with a sigh, as if welcoming them home. Inside, it was neither bright nor dark, but that perfect in-between light, like just before the sun rises, and it was quiet, but not empty. The air hummed, not with sound, but with memory. A soft voice echoed gently. This is the place where all your forgotten happiness lives. Moments too small to stay, but too dear to disappear. The traveler stepped forward. There were shelves made of soft moss, spiraling like seashells into the sky. But instead of books, the shelves were filled with light globes. Each one pulsed gently, not with words, but with feelings. The first globe the traveler touched felt warm. Inside it, they saw a single moment. The first time they laughed so hard they cried. The room, the friend, the silly joke. It all shimmered in full, not in detail, but in emotion. Next globe. cooler, like shade. On a hot day, a walk alone in springtime, the quiet, the sound of birds, the sudden peace of realizing, I'm okay. The traveler was overwhelmed, not by sadness but by tenderness. So many beautiful moments, never lost, just stored here. We forget joy, the voice whispered again, because we rush past it. But nothing joyful is ever truly gone. They wandered deeper. A globe floated toward them, unasked. They touched it, and their chest filled with warmth. The first time they felt loved without needing to earn it. Tears touched their cheeks, but not from sorrow. These were cleansing tears, the kind that heal, the kind that say, you remember now. In one corner, a globe flickered shyly. The traveler picked it up carefully. Inside was a pet's tail wagging, a grandparent's hand holding theirs, rain tapping the window during a favorite book. Tiny joys, quiet joys, sacred joys, and just. Then the traveler heard laughter, soft, melodic, like the ringing of wind chimes. They turned. There, a child version of themselves, running through the aisles, giggling, arms full of glowing orbs. Come on, the child said. You left all these behind, but I kept them safe. The traveler smiled. They didn't need to chase. The child brought them one last orb. It shimmered gold. They touched it and saw something they hadn't remembered in years. A moment of pure peace. It wasn't grand, just sitting under a tree, on a day when the world felt okay. No fear, no hurry, just peace. The child looked up at them and whispered, you thought joy had to be big, but the quiet ones are stronger. You carry them even now. A bell rang softly, not as a warning, but as a reminder. The library began to dim. The traveler knew it was time to go, but not with loss, with gifts. They carried the orbs now, in their chest, in their breath, in the corners of their sleeping smile. The voice spoke one last time. When you wake, you won't remember every detail, but your heart will, and it will thank you. The door opened again. The traveler stepped outside. The sky was soft lavender now. A wind full of lullabies passed through the trees, and somewhere, just behind the clouds, morning waited, but not yet. The traveler lay down once more. Let the memories rock them. Let the warmth of forgotten joys curl around them like a blanket. And as sleep deepened, a single thought stayed with them. Happiness isn't loud, it's gentle, and it never really leaves. Dear listener, you are now in the library too. Somewhere your own forgotten joys wait quietly on glowing shelves, ready to return, ready to rest beside you. Let them breathe deeply. You are whole. You are safe. You are loved. Let sleep take you deeper. The wind had grown softer now. It no longer whispered. It sang, not in words, but in feelings. Feelings of home, of peace, of something older than memory. A garden. The traveler awoke beneath a sky the color of early dawn, not quite day, not quite night. A golden mist drifted across the fields, and in the distance they saw it. A gate covered in vines that shimmered like silver threads. The gate stood wide open. Beyond it, the garden waited. No footsteps disturbed the grass. No birds sang, yet the air was full of music. It was the kind of silence that makes your soul sit still, as if the world is holding its breath in peace. The traveler stepped inside. It was not a garden of flowers, but of moments. Yes, every tree, every leaf, every stone held a memory from a time before time, not theirs, not anyone's, just humanity's. The first laughter, the first sigh of relief, the first quiet evening shared by two hearts. A tree to the left had bark made of braided light. When the traveler touched it, they felt the calm of holding someone's hand while saying nothing, the stillness of watching stars after a long day. The first time they forgave themselves, not just thoughts. They felt inside those moments, alive in them. Further down, a path of velvet. Moss opened toward a clearing. There stood a small pool, still, clear, endless. They looked into it, but didn't see their reflection. They saw their truth. It wasn't made of names or titles, not jobs, not failures, not wins. Just one thing: light, soft, gentle, unbreakable. A light that was always inside, even when the world felt dark. Suddenly, time itself paused. Even the breeze held still. The traveler sat by the pool and the garden spoke, not in voice, but in presence. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are growing. The words weren't heard. They were known, planted deep in the traveler's heart like seeds in spring. The garden showed more, a child's laughter turning into song, a stranger offering water on a hot day, a grandmother's hands braiding soft hair, timeless, borderless moments that connected everyone, even in silence. The traveler stood again lightly, lighter than before. Each step now felt like floating, like remembering something they'd always known but somehow forgot. At the center of the garden, a bench appeared. On it sat no one, but the space beside it felt warm, as if someone invisible had been waiting. They sat, and there it came, a scent, not of flowers, but of belonging, of coming home after a long journey, of being seen without needing to speak. You've carried so much, the garden said without words, but you can rest here. You were never meant to carry it all forever. The traveler closed their eyes. A breeze passed through the leaves, not to move them, but to lull them, like a cradle, like a song, like a sigh of release. No clocks ticked here, no to-do lists, no rush, only the rhythm of the soul returning to stillness. Time melted, and with it, so did worry. The traveler could now hear something deeper, the sound beneath all sounds, the heartbeat of the universe, the breath of stars, the pulse of hope. "You belong," the garden whispered. "Even when you forget, the garden remembers." A gentle mist rose, not to hide, but to comfort. The traveler lay down beneath a willow tree, its branches humming lullabies older than language. And there, with eyes closed, a smile touched their lips. They didn't need to do anything, they just needed to be. "Let go now," said the stillness. "Sleep is not escape, it is return." The garden faded gently as the traveler's breathing slowed, and then only peace remained. Soft, endless, sacred. Dear listener, you are now in the garden too. You have nothing to prove, nothing to fix, nothing to fear. You are already whole. Let go now. Let your breath fall gently. Let your dreams carry you beyond time, into stillness, into kindness, into sleep. Above the garden, beyond the mist, past even the realm of dreams, there floated a single star. It had no name, no number, no orbit, yet it was yours. This star was not in the sky you knew. It lived in a quieter place, where memories turn into stardust and wishes become wind. You've seen it before, in the corner of your eye when you laughed a little too freely, in that flicker of warmth when someone believed in you, in that moment before sleep when everything inside you just let go. That was the star saying hello. But tonight the star was closer, almost as if it had been waiting for this exact moment, this exact breath, this exact silence. The traveler felt it too. As they slept under the willow tree in the garden, a soft light descended, not to wake them, but to guide them deeper into the sky of their own soul, where no fear could follow, where every scar became a constellation, and there it was, the star, not bright, not loud, just steady, gentle, endlessly patient. "I have waited," it said without words, "not for you to become something else, but for you to finally see who you already are." The traveler drifted upward, not with wings, but with acceptance, each breath lifting them closer, each heartbeat echoing, "You are enough." No ladders, no rockets, no maps, only surrender, only softness, only truth. As they neared the star, it pulsed with color, like a memory dancing in slow motion. It showed them visions, visions of every time they were kind when no one saw, every tear they cried in silence but still got up, every moment they chose to love instead of fear. These were their real victories, and the star remembered them all. "You thought no one noticed," the star whispered. But the universe took note, and so did I. The traveler reached out. Their hand didn't touch fire. It touched recognition, like hugging a friend you forgot you had, like hearing your name spoken with love after years of silence. The star didn't shine to impress. It shone to comfort. It didn't burn. It healed. A glow spread across the traveler's chest, not from the outside, but from deep within, as if the star had only been a mirror all along. They realized the light I was chasing was inside me this whole time. They weren't floating anymore. They were becoming, not someone new, but their truest self, free of weight, free of judgment, free of masks. All the noise of life, the pressure, the doubt, the trying, it fell away like autumn leaves, and what remained? Stillness, self-love, starlight. They whispered a quiet, "Thank you," not with lips, but with spirit, and the star pulsed once in return, then slowly faded, not gone, but part of them now, always there, always waiting, should they ever forget again. And so the traveler returned, not to a place, but to a feeling. The garden faded, the sky dimmed, the night held its breath, and gently the traveler exhaled, back into sleep. But something had changed. They weren't just resting, they were healing. Dear listener, the star that waits for you is still there, in the quietest part of your heart. It knows your name, it holds your dreams, it sees your goodness. You don't need to search anymore, just close your eyes and listen. You are worthy, you are loved, you are whole. Let this be the lullaby that carries you. Let the weight of the day slip off your shoulders. Let yourself drift, not away, but inward, to the home that never left, to the light that never failed, to the star that was always waiting. Good night, and remember, you are not alone. You are not lost. You are not too late. Yo!